Every time a new striker joins Chelsea, fans are wondering, will he break the number 9 curse? The number 9 what? The number 9 curse is a malaise that plagues Chelsea strikers, making them forget how to score the moment they join the club. This is FOOTGRAM, and before we can sell the spirit board about the dark powers at play, support our channel by liking this video, subscribing and hitting the bell icon. Now back to Chelsea's misfortunes. Since the turn of the century, 13 Chelsea footballers have been given the number 9. However, the curse started with one player, Fernando Torres. The Spaniard was a hero to Liverpool fans, but when Chelsea came calling in January 2011, for some reason he said yes. The debut game for the most expensive British transfer at the time couldn't be more symbolic and shambolic. A 1-0 defeat against his former club at Stamford Bridge despite Chelsea being clear favourites. Torres' Chelsea career is a contradiction. People may look at his Wikipedia page and say what a fantastic player he was for the Blues. He even won the Champions League and scored the iconic goal at Camp Nou in the semi-final. He also won the Europa League, and his 6 goals in the knockouts were crucial. But to assess Torres at Chelsea fairly, you just had to see him play. His career there never took off, and he is mostly remembered for ridiculous sitters. He struggled for form and went missing for 90 minutes, only to remind fans of his presence by wasting another chance. But if anything, 45 goals and 35 assists in almost 3 years is much better than Chelsea's number 9s after him. You're a Premier League savant if you remember Radamel Falcao at Chelsea. But even if you don't, that's because the Colombian spell at Stamford Bridge was totally forgettable, and the number 9 shirt was not the problem. It seemed like the Premier League just didn't suit him at all. A season before joining Chelsea, Falcao had been on loan at Man United and only scored 4 goals. At Chelsea, he somehow did even worse, a grand total of 1 goal in 12 games. But there's the funny thing. When Falcao came back to his parent club, Monaco, he scored 30 goals in 1 season and won the French league, with the number 9 on the back. Curse? What curse? Alvaro Morata tried next and was actually amazing, but just for 2 months. Whatever happened behind the scenes next affected the Spaniard. It seems like he simply failed to adapt to new life and expectations. Morata has played for some of the best clubs in the world in all of his career, but his mental side has always been questioned. The proof is in the pudding. Chelsea head coach at the time, Maurizio Sarri, didn't mince words and called the Spaniard a little bit mentally fragile. No surprise, Sarri wanted to replace the sulky Morata with somebody perfectly familiar with his ideas, Gonzalo Higuain. The Argentine had been his goal machine at Napoli, but when he came to Chelsea, he seemed a bit out of shape. It's funny that he's probably best remembered at Chelsea for his training ground bust-up with David Luiz, right before the Europa League final. Sarri was so annoyed he stormed out of the training session. But to be fair, Gonzalo did cough up a couple of goals in half a season and helped the club win the Europa League, but he was never considered as a long-term solution, especially with Maurizio Sarri gone. If glorified has-beens were no good for the Blues, perhaps the answer was one of their own, Tammy Abraham, who said he was ready. I heard a lot of things about the cursed number 9, but I was willing to take that upon myself and change it. It's a dream come true, and in the next 15 years I want to create a legacy. Maybe he didn't create a Chelsea legacy and certainly didn't stay at the club for 15 years. However, the academy product, Abraham cannot be accused of a lack of trying. He scored 18 in his debut season and 12 in the second year before being sold to Italy and making his club 40 million euros. It's not like Chelsea badly needed the money, but the club believed they needed a better goalscorer. It didn't help that the fans constantly criticized the Cobham graduate for his inconsistency, as he could go missing for several games. But be careful what you wish for. Tammy scored 27 in his debut season for Roma, while Chelsea ended up paying a record fee for the player they now wish they had never signed. Romelu Lukaku, your ex-player with the points proven on the back of a season of his life in Italy. What's not to like? Lukaku was beaming upon his arrival and said beautiful words about how he was raring to go. He actually scored against Arsenal on his debut, and then... Belgian footballers have big mouths and can sometimes be too outspoken, but boy, Lukaku just woke up and chose violence. 2 months into his Chelsea transfer, he said he hated Thomas Tuchel's tactics and wanted to come back to Inter. What a way to endear yourself to fans! Lukaku was immediately taken out of the squad before he eventually apologized, but by then all the bridges had been burned. Lukaku scored in the Club World Cup final, but his exit was all but inevitable. It was only a matter of time before Lukaku would be shipped back to Italy, and in the meantime, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang briefly picked up the number 9. There's a reason why you can think of Aubameyang as an Arsenal or Dortmund or even Barca footballer. At Chelsea, the Gabonese was a shadow of his best self, but just as it happened with some of the players on the list, Aubameyang started to perform again the moment he quit the Blues, as his Marseille spell proves. If you look at all the cursed Chelsea strikers, their failures demanded context. Some had mental problems, some were past their prime, and some didn't suit tactic. And some actually scored goals. But despite logical explanation, Chelsea footballers aren't Russians who claim the number 9 shirt, as once conferred by Thomas Tuchel. This number is cursed. People tell me it's cursed. Players sometimes want to change numbers, but surprisingly, nobody wants to touch this one. We do believe there's no dark magic at play, but it's obvious the shirt does carry certain expectations that no other number does at Chelsea. Mikhailo Mudryk is yet to restore the glory to the number 10, but previous owners William, Eden Hazard and Juan Mata are celebrated at the bridge. Noni Madueke has to do better for the number 11 shirt, but nothing hints at a curse. Pedro, Didier Drogba and Oscar used to wear it, and Timo Werner won the Champions League with 11 on his back. Do you think the number 9 at Chelsea is cursed? Let us know in the comments, and share the video with your friends so more football fans can watch it. Thank you for your support, see you in other videos.